everybody. This is Keith Gleason, host of Indie Comics Relay, creator of the Mighty Mascots, and promoter for the Plastic City Comic Con. And I'm here with another 5 questions with an indie creator. Before we get into that, just a reminder that Mighty Mascots number 10 triple size anniversary issue still live on Indiegogo. We are sending the books to press this week, so I can't wait. So we're getting close to fulfilling this, and hopefully we'll probably be fulfilling before the end date, which is awesome, which I think I put for June or something like that. But also I added this recently. We got 5 sketch cards that were done by artist DC Miller that I'm going to randomly insert into anybody's package that gets a physical perk. So if you haven't backed yet, you still have time and you might win one of these bonus sketch cards. So check that out. Also, PlasticCityComicCon happening August 23rd. We just announced Philip Kennedy Johnson is coming to our show. How great is that? He's one of the best writers right now that Marvel and DC has. He's done so much great stuff like the Hulk and currently the Batman and Robin run, which is excellent. If you like Batman, definitely check that out. It's the best title coming from DC right now. But yeah, we got a whole list of people, a whole list of creators coming, and a whole slew of vendors and different artists and indie guys and everything. So it's going to be a great show. It's shaping up to be something awesome. So check that out. All right. So I've been doing these 5 questions with an indie creator for a little while now. And they are fun to do, let me tell you. And the reason we do these is because a lot of the times our live stream has been so popular, which thank you guys, everybody out there that not only comes on the live stream, but also watches. So we appreciate that immensely. So, but we have so many requests to be on the live stream that sometimes we cannot get to everybody. So I started these segments as an alternative to help creators that have campaigns out there that can't get on the live stream, but is willing to come on and answer some questions and have a video for themselves, basically. So that's what this is. So this episode is for Cross-Eye Comics, so the creator Doug Knight. I'm going to show his campaign here right now. So this is the Cross-Eye Comics 2025 campaign. And basically it's a campaign to print all of his titles. Like he has a bunch of different titles that he's making either trade paperbacks or he has a new one. And really great guy. We met him at Terrificon. Now he has an interesting story too. He had a brain tumor as a kid and, all these operations, and he's pretty much legally blind, which is crazy, but he makes comics and he channels his fears and his ailments and stuff into positive art and like superhero stories and things like that. And on top of that, he makes these books and he donates them to kids hospitals and charities and things like that. So all around incredible guy. And I like his artwork a lot. It reminds me of like a graffiti kind of style artwork, which is really cool. And you can see some of it right there in the thumbnail, but just taking a look, these are some of his titles: the Super Wicked White Cell Squadron, Chiasm, and the newest one is the Paka Skull Lips Now. And he has all of these. This is Doug right there, great guy. And he has all these, once he makes his goal, he's going to be printing them up and making trade paperbacks, going to conventions, but also sending them out to children's hospital and charity. So I can't think of a better guy to back and help out if you can. And if you can't support, please share this video. Please share his Kickstarter campaign. The link will be in the description of this video, by the way, as well. So check it out. You can get in as low as $8 from the looks of it. You get all the digitals for 10. So stuff like that, really good stuff. And let me see where he is at goal wise here. And look at that. He's already over his goal. So that's awesome. Great. Congratulations, Doug. Hopefully we can get you a little more backers from this end. But yeah, so I think it's a great campaign. So everyone check it out. I'm surprised Kickstarter hasn't made it a projects we like, especially with the charity aspect and everything. But maybe the next one, right? So here's the questions I came up with for Doug. And so let's start with number 1. Your comics often reflect your experience as a childhood cancer survivor. What personal moments or emotions are woven into the comics offered in the Cross-Eyed 25?
Hey, Keith. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Being diagnosed with cancer at a very early age kind of shifted my perception on life. It changed definitely a lot of trajectories, one of which was just storytelling. I gained so many tales from an early age that were different than my peers who were growing up playing hockey and, kind of learning to drive and doing everything like that, that I take those experiences and put them into my books.
All right. Number 2, you've had success getting your comics into children's hospitals. Is that a goal for Cross-Eyed 25 too? And how do you plan to make it happen?
When I was a little dude in the hospital, I spent a lot of time in the craft room learning how to draw. I got to hang out with peers, and they taught me how to draw Biker Mice from Mars and all the cool cartoon characters that I grew up with. Growing forward as a professional, I think that it's important to maintain a very rooted initiative, and I think that giving back those feelings of getting lost in a project is super important. So I'm going to continue making it a priority to get books into children's hospitals, and even not just children's hospitals, any institution that offers children an outlet. That's where I want these books to go. I've been very fortunate to gain partnership with Comic Books for Kids out of the States. They're in Chicago. And we've got something worked out where whenever I send them 75 copies of my books, they make sure that one goes into each one of their care packages that goes out quarterly. And so, while I don't have exact control over where they're going, it's still super nice to know that they're going to places that have already established a relationship with an incredible organization like C4K. And then on my end, I've done a lot of work just reaching out, making the cold calls and pulling on leads, I've done a lot of work at Holland Blue Review Children's Rehabilitation Center in Toronto. So Christmas markets and donating books every time I participate. My books are at the Sick Kids Library, which is huge because that's where I spent a lot of my childhood. And then we've got relationships with local hospitals near where I live. And so moving forward with a larger stock off of a print, I hope to establish relationships with hospitals a little bit farther from me and continue building so that as I tour, I can do drop-ins and draw-alongs with kids that just need to spend 15-20 minutes getting away from it all and forgetting that they're in a much crummier situation than most of their peers.
All right. Question number 3. As a legally blind artist, your journey to get here is inspiring. How has your unique perspective shaped the art of storytelling in your comics?
I channel my experience as a legally blind individual into my creations by focusing on telling very clear and easy to follow visual stories first, and then letting the writing act as an enhancement factor. So I'll do all my illustrations first, make sure that story is super clear, really fun to follow visually, focus on high contrast, bold lines, and clear character differentials. And then I'll write on top of that so that it can help guide the expression beyond what the illustration has created. Again, this is based off of my experience as a kid not reading comics because I couldn't see the text. And this is before digital comics was accessible. And then by the time digital comics came around, as awesome as it was already kind of set in my ways. So I still rely first and foremost on following the visual storytelling and the insane artwork that's produced by everybody that works so hard on their own individual projects.
All right, number 4, your comic Apocalypse Now mixes ska, zombies, and punk rock in a brutal, not-for-kids adventure. What sparked the idea to blend these wild elements together?
Okay, so Apocalypse Now is what all the good years of my youth and early 20s and even leading up to now have been, and that's like time in the tattoo industry, listening to whatever music you want to, and skateboarding, eating pizza, chilling, playing video games, figuring out a way to make that dollar stretch so that you can afford pizza tomorrow. surviving in this weird adolescent wasteland that we put ourselves in, even though our parents do everything they can to make sure that we go to college and become successful in whatever field possible. So Apocalypse Now is just fun, man. I set the trajectory. I want to hit as many different demographics as possible. I want to hit the hooligans, the rude boys, the skater kids, the dads that remember being cool, the young kids that think that they're cool now but know that they're going to not be cool in 10 years. So Apocalypse Now is just my way of having fun, expressing brutality and energy, and introducing characters that are that breach the uncanny valley, where it's like proportions are wacky, and superheroes without being superheroes, and hit squads and nuclear wastelands. That's it. It's just fun. I think it's important to separate yourself from the elements that you are so closely connected to, and then embrace yourself in a world where you don't care if someone's arm gets chopped off, or or if main characters get wiped out. Like it, no spoilers there. It's the fun book. It's just brilliant. It's checkers. It's trumpets. It's a lot of rats, a lot of body parts, and just total calamity and breakdown of civilization. And it would be the ska trumpeter that survives that. Shirley Temples and rollerblades.
All right, number 5. Your comics often carry a message of hope. What's the one takeaway you want readers to get from the comics offered in this Kickstarter?
The takeaway that I want anybody that jumps on this project to carry with them is the fact that hope can float the boat, but hard work rows it. And that's what I've dedicated the last, significant 5 years of my life to, is producing Cross-Eye Comics and making these books that tell great stories, and then diverting to, other wacky tales like Apocalypse Now. The part that I don't touch on in the actual Kickstarter campaign really is how many anthologies I've been a part of. And that's all in, networking and making these new connections and making these incredible friends across the indie comics industry. So running this campaign is showing that, instead of just one book, I'm coming at you with 3 incredible books, plus a coloring book, plus, those 3 books are broken down into 5 chapters in White Cell Squadron and Chiasm, and it's going to be just this, I think it represents an incredible sword in the stone moment for what the year ahead is going to be. And that's, it's hard work that got me to put my head down and make the comics. It's hard work that got me to tour them into some huge markets. It was courage that got me to shake the hands of people that are, leading me to new opportunities. And I think that Cross-Eye Comics 2025 represents me stepping forward as an independent professional in some incredible ways.
And as often as we do, we always end number 6 as a fun question. And here's the fun question. If you had to pit a ska band and punk band against a horde of zombies, which bands would it be, and what songs would they be blaring as they both chop away at the undead?
Okay, so for the fun question, number 6, who am I taking with me in the zombie apocalypse? I am going to take second wave ska band Bad Manners. They've got one of my all-time favorite jams, Lip Up Fatty, and I think that they are going to utilize their skills as just old school, take no guff, hooligans, rude boys, and skinnies to put the boots to whatever zombie comes their way. And I think they're going to party the whole time too. Those guys used to tour bus and make it work on a strict dime and stuff like that. They'd probably find a way to survive off of anything in a zombie apocalypse. So that's my ska band pick. My punk band, I got it. I went back and forth on this one too, but I think I settled on the Transplants. And I think that that's because the Transplants are, obviously a bunch of dudes from other incredibly successful punk bands that found a way to survive horrible crap and then make it work in crazy situations. So, you got Travis Barker survives a plane crash and then, starts sailing across oceans so he can get to international shows and stuff. That guy knows how to survive. And then, all the dudes from Rancid, you got I think the transplants would be like the ultimate accoutrement. And I think that's because they just be tough as nails and, willing to go the extra mile to make tomorrow count. And then I'm gonna go bonus on this one. I think my hardcore band would be Agnostic Front. I just think that, like, if you're gonna go down, you might as well bring some old school New York hardcore boys with you, and really knock it out. And then if we're gonna go above and beyond on that, metalcore, let's toss a Day to Remember in there. I guess a new metal, I don't know, you know what I mean. But I think that they would just be kind of super fun to go down with, because in the zombie apocalypse, at some point you got to go down, so you might as well bring your homies with you. That's it, man. Those are my picks.
All right, great answers, Doug. Thanks so much. And then we always end these segments with a quick 2-sentence elevator pitch for your Cross-Eyed Comics 25 Kickstarter. Go.
In Chiasm, you're going to get a lot of medical drama, little dudes in MRIs and dealing with the frustration of being sick or different, and also being ostracized by educators and peers. So that's what you're going to find in Chiasm. It's a little dark, but it's inevitably super fun and breaks down to a really heavy-hitting superhero origin story. Super Wicked White Cell Squadron takes all the reasons why people fight for everybody who's dealing with something, an illness, a sickness, and bundles it up into a great big feel good package of hope. You got mechs, you got monsters, you got the power armored wearing teenagers. When I was a kid, chemo was explained to me as sending a bunch of White Rangers based off the Power Rangers into my brain to fight the monster. White Cell Squadron channels that energy and delivers it full force right back at you. I got nothing for Apocalypse Now. It's just good old-fashioned violence and and fun. So I'm bringing stuff for everybody on this campaign, and I think that anybody jumping in is the perfect opportunity for you to save some money on what the retail cost is when I tour with these projects, as well as help support my initiative to continue doing good things with all of the projects that I bring to the table.
All right, that is awesome. Doug did such a great job. Doug, thank you so much for coming on Indie Comics Relay and doing the 5 questions with an indie creator segment. I would say good luck with the campaign, but you already hit your goal, which is fantastic. And I hope we can just help you get a few more backers to the cause and keep up the great work that you're doing. But all right, everybody, that's it for this episode of 5 Questions with an Indie Creator. Join us every other Monday, starting this Monday again, for an episode of Indie Comics Relay Live, where me, Johnny, Harry get together. We interview a bunch of indie creators, and we talk comics, we talk wrestling, we talk nostalgia, we talk anything. So we have a lot of fun on the live streams, and usually about 2 hours, give or take. And most importantly, everybody, read some comics. All right, we'll talk to you later. Have a great week. Bye.
Vigilante, hardcore. I work too hard, becoming hip-hop Dexter, raps Hannibal Lecter. What book comes out